What if there are 7 spots on the human body that combat sports quietly banned? Not because they don't work, but because they work too well. These are places where fighters have watched opponents drop from shots that looked like nothing, where trainers feel panic when someone gets hit wrong in sparring and doesn't get back up right away. Most people think combat sports ban moves because they're fake. That's backwards. They ban them because they're too real, too dangerous, too permanent. Today, you're getting the real list, the spots that end fights, the spots that end lives, and the truth about which ones actually work when someone's trying to fight back. You've been lied to about pressure points. Some are pure movie fantasy. One-touch knockouts? Cheat energy. That's Hollywood nonsense. But here's the truth. A few spots can end a fight in one shot, or end someone's life. Before we go further, this is for education only. Life or death, self-defense. If you wouldn't pull a weapon in that situation, you shouldn't be aiming at these targets either. We clear? Combat sports research reveals the truth. Some fighters score knockouts with these pressure points. Others never successfully target them against resisting opponents. Real fights aren't gym demonstrations with compliant partners. Today, we're ranking these 7 forbidden points from most accessible to absolutely lethal. By the end, you'll know exactly which pressure points are real, which are fake, and why combat sports treat them like loaded weapons. Point number 7, common peroneal nerve. A nerve cluster on the outside of your thigh that can delete leg function when you crush it right. You're smashing a nerve bundle against the fibula head. When you compress it with enough force, you overload the electrical system controlling the leg muscles. The signal shorts out. The leg stops responding. They collapse like someone cut their power cord. This shows up most commonly with low kicks. Muay Thai fighters know this nerve well, even if they don't call it by name. Someone plants heavy on their front leg, telegraphs their movement. You destroy that nerve cluster with a hard shin kick. When it connects perfectly, the fight's over. Experienced fighters have used this in sparring. One documented case, a fighter kept bull rushing his opponent, planting heavy on his lead leg every time. Third round, the opponent caught him with a perfect low kick right to that nerve. His leg buckled immediately. He couldn't put weight on it for the rest of the round. You won't one-tap everyone with this. Pain tolerance varies wildly between people. Adrenaline makes people do impossible things. Some fighters will eat these shots and keep coming on pure will and rage. But when it lands perfect, they can't stand. It's physics, not pain. Legal-wise, you're targeting mobility. If they fall wrong, hit concrete, damage their knee permanently, you're potentially crippling someone for life. Are you ready to defend that choice in court? Can you prove it was necessary? Once you target someone's ability to walk, you've crossed into serious bodily harm territory. This nerve strike is real. It works, but it's not magic. Point number 6, radial nerve. Run your finger down the outside of your forearm. Feel that groove? That's your target. Strike it right, their hand goes dead, can't grip, can't punch back. It's not a knockout, but it sets up everything else. Grapplers have used this technique extensively. When someone's got a grip they won't let go of, this makes them let go real quick. The radial nerve controls finger extension and grip strength. Hit it precisely, and their hand becomes useless. Why's this forbidden? Because it's a setup point that works too well. You kill their grip, then you control the fight. In grappling scenarios, this can be the difference between escape and capture. The key difference with this technique is its application context. This is pain compliance for creating an opening to escape a dangerous situation, not a fight-ending technique. In a life or death scenario, you'd use this to break free and run, not to escalate or punish. Point number 5, solar plexus. That soft spot right below your ribcage. Most people think it just knocks the wind out of you. They're wrong. You've got a massive nerve network there, controlling your diaphragm, stomach, and other organs. Hit it right, and their whole nervous system goes haywire. The diaphragm spasms. They can't breathe. Their body thinks it's dying and starts shutting down. They lose control of their entire core. Fighters have seen opponents fold from a perfect solar plexus shot. Not just winded, completely shut down for 30 to 40 seconds. Conscious, but unable to respond. The problem? Everyone expects body shots. Good fighters protect their ribs and counter when you drop your hands to the body. You need perfect setup, a distraction, a moment when their guard drops or they're focused on something else. Jab to the face, get their hands up, slip their counter, then drive that body shot home. But you better land it clean because you won't get a second chance. Miss by 2 inches? You hit ribs or muscle. Neither shuts down the nervous system. You need that exact spot where the nerve cluster sits exposed. Point number 4, brachial plexus. Where all the nerves to your arm meet up, right at the base of your neck. You know those hammer fist strikes to the neck in movies? This is what they're really targeting. Hit this nerve cluster, their whole arm goes dead. Complete loss of motor function. They can't defend, can't strike back, can't grab you. Combat sports document cases of fighters accidentally striking this area during sparring. One verified report showed a fighter losing arm function for several minutes. The affected fighter couldn't feel or move his arm properly, creating immediate safety concerns. The danger isn't just the immediate effect. This area's close to arteries and the spine. Miss by an inch toward the spine, you could paralyze someone. Miss toward the front, you could cause a stroke by damaging blood vessels. That's why it's forbidden, not because it doesn't work, because when it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. Up to this point, you've seen pressure points that hurt. From here on out, you're looking at the ones that can kill. We need to pause here. The stakes are about to get deadly serious with our final 3 points, but first, you need to understand something crucial about real-world application. Real fights are chaos, pure, violent chaos. Your heart's hammering at 200 beats per minute. Your hands are shaking from adrenaline. Someone's trying to cave your skull in while you're trying to remember where some tiny nerve cluster is supposed to be. These pressure points require surgical precision, exact angles, perfect timing, the kind of accuracy you might have on a compliant training dummy in a quiet gym. But when someone's throwing haymakers at your head, when you're slipping on blood or broken glass, when your fine motor skills have completely shut down from adrenaline, good luck hitting a 2-inch target with laboratory precision. The gap between dojo demonstration and street reality is massive. In the demo, the attacker stands there waiting to be defeated. In reality, they're moving, grabbing, kicking, doing everything possible to survive while you try to do the same. The first 4 points we covered, they're challenging enough, but our final 3 cross into territory where precision isn't just about effectiveness, it's about life and death. Point number 3, temple. This isn't technically a pressure point like the others. It's structural weakness masquerading as a pressure point target. Your temple has the thinnest bone in your skull. Hit it wrong, you fracture it. Bone fragments go into the brain. That's not a knockout. That's potential murder. Every combat sport bans temple shots for a reason. Medical professionals have documented fighters dropping from glancing temple shots, not because of nerve damage, because of brain trauma. If you hit someone in the temple and they don't get up, you're not calling their gym. You're calling an ambulance and probably a lawyer. But the legal reality gets even more serious with our final 2 points. The law doesn't care about your martial arts knowledge. It cares about proportional response. Using pressure points that target breathing, blood flow, or spinal cord will be viewed as deadly force by any court. Even if you didn't intend to kill, prosecutors will argue your specialized knowledge makes you legally responsible for the consequences. Ignorance isn't a defense when you demonstrate precise anatomical targeting. Self-defense laws require your response to match the threat level. Someone pushes you at a bar, pressure point strikes land you in prison. Someone tries to kidnap your child, different story. The line between justified force and criminal assault isn't drawn by effectiveness. It's drawn by necessity and proportionality. This applies especially to our final 2 pressure points, both target systems that keep you alive. Point number 2, carotid sinus. A pressure receptor in your neck that monitors blood pressure. Apply precise pressure. It triggers a protective reflex. The sensor thinks your blood pressure spiked dangerously. Your body's automatic response. Drop blood pressure immediately to prevent a stroke. Your brain loses blood flow. Consciousness fades in seconds. It's the same mechanism that causes some people to faint when they turn their head too quickly or wear tight collars. The reflex is designed to protect you, but when triggered artificially, it becomes a weapon. This technique is documented and real. Law enforcement has studied it. Medical professionals recognize it. But proximity to critical arteries makes it lethally dangerous. Too much pressure or wrong angle? You're not just causing unconsciousness, you're risking brain damage or death from oxygen deprivation. When you target someone's blood flow, you're gambling their life on your precision under stress. Point number 1, base of the skull. The most forbidden target, where your spine meets your brainstem. This area controls everything that keeps you alive. The base of the skull houses your body's automatic control center. Strike this area with sufficient force, and you're potentially severing the connection between brain and body. This guide won't demonstrate how to target this area. There's no safe way to practice it, no controlled way to test it. Combat sports don't just ban this target, they design entire rule sets around avoiding accidental contact. The rabbit punch prohibition exists specifically to protect this vulnerable area. This spot transcends every boundary between self-defense and homicide. If you're considering targeting this area, you're facing a life or death scenario where your survival depends on stopping an immediate lethal threat. Nothing less justifies this level of force. So there they are. 7 forbidden pressure points, ranked from most accessible to absolutely lethal. Some are legitimate techniques with documented effectiveness. Others are overrated myths. All carry serious consequences. The pattern should be clear. The higher we climbed this list, the more we moved from self-defense technique toward lethal weapon. That progression reflects the reality that pressure point knowledge walks a knife's edge between protection and destruction. Knowledge isn't the same as wisdom. Just because you know where these spots are doesn't mean you should use them. The most dangerous person isn't the one who knows 7 ways to hurt someone. It's the one who knows when not to use them. Real fighters understand the most important pressure point of all, the one between your ears. That's where you decide if you're protecting yourself or just looking for an excuse to hurt someone. Which of these would you trust if it came down to life or death? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more raw, unfiltered truths about self-defense no dojo master dares to teach, make sure you subscribe.